From a decentralized location, this is The Crypto Effect, Episode 24, Crypto Security.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to The Crypto Effect. It is August 19th, and we have had a pretty exciting week in crypto. Once again, as usual, we're back up, and I think we're actually reaching some newer highs. Actually, I take that back. We're not quite reaching newer highs from what we had last week, but we are getting there after a significant dip over the last like 3 or 4 days. So Bitcoin reaching up to 47,000, Ethereum back up to 3,200. BNB getting up to some newer highs since the dips at 435. We're just seeing a lot of the Bitcoin and altcoin markets really starting to rally back after the most recent dip this last week. So that's actually really exciting because we're seeing it move at quite a quicker speed than we have in the past. So it's feeling really nice. My altcoin portfolio is back up. So this week, though, we're going to talk about with all this new money coming in, people are starting to put a lot more money into the markets, into the exchanges. What do you do with it to keep it safe, right? And so a question got brought up to me the other day about how to keep that money safe. So we're going to talk about that. I'm sitting here with Warble. Warble, how are you doing this week?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I would agree with 100% of what you said.
Yeah.
Markets are back up, and I'm happy.
That's right. So it's actually pretty funny because last week the market started going back down, and then it was the FUD entered immediately. Everyone was going, Bitcoin's back down to 20,000. Are you kidding?
Yep.
Like it dropped down to 43,000, or not even 43,000. It dropped down 4 or 5,000, and then all of a sudden the FUD was going back. We saw a little bit of a dip, and then it didn't even last 3 or 4 days, and we're back in business as of today. Actually, as of yesterday, but looking pretty good. Bitcoin is up. I'll share my screen here real quick, just kind of give you a quick example of the markets today. So let's take a look at the charts. Bitcoin, you can see, is back up to around 47,300. You can see over the last couple of days we had that tiny little dip and little market blip, and then we're back in business. Ethereum also following along with Bitcoin in the charts, back up to 3,200. And you can just look at like BNB. All these markets are still kind of following along with Bitcoin's lead, moving back up in the right direction here. Why is this happening? I've been watching a lot of videos. There's a lot of reasons why crypto markets are going back up. Some of the bigger ones, though, again, goes to institutional money. BlackRock joins Fidelity and Vanguard as Bitcoin mining investor. So basically, BlackRock has invested in mining companies. You're talking about
really
one of the
interesting.
biggest institutions in the world, right? Is taking ownership of mining. So they actually want to own where the Bitcoin or who's mining the Bitcoin. They took a 6.7% in Marathon Digital Holdings and a 6.61% in Riot Blockchain. So now BlackRock wants to own a bit of how Bitcoin is being mined, which is really interesting. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think the mining thing is ever since a large portion of the mining power has left China and headed to North America mostly. I think we've seen more of this. Like it seems like there's been a lot more attention on it, and there's been a lot of talk about how Bitcoin is bad for the environment, but I do think there's also been a lot of counter arguments against that as well. And people realize, wait a second here, most of the largest mining farms in the world are using renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that are, for protecting the earth and, trying to make things green are also realizing that maybe Bitcoin perhaps could drive the, the renewable energy sector as well. So I think there's a lot of interest there, but I think the fact that a lot of it's moved to North America, you've got companies and institutions that are starting to invest in it because it's not sitting in China, and 75% of it.
Right.
So I think some of that, I think a lot of it is that.
Right. So, this may truly, and we've heard it all before, it's almost kind of tiresome to hear it over and over, but with the number of institutions literally stepping in to take the ownership of the distribution of this stuff, you can just take a look at the markets that I have pulled up here, the overall market. Look, everything is green. I mean,
Lots of
Doge
green.
is green, SRP. The only thing that was one of the only few things that was red was actually USDT just a little bit ago, but Sol's a little bit red. They're actually up quite a bit this week. Luna again, what is that? Luna's at 30. I mean, Luna has been just on a rip this entire week. They're not actually
Yeah.
down. They're just a little bit down, probably for the day. But these coins are just absolutely starting to dominate. And I think a lot of people, this is the beginning of speculation of Bitcoin on its next biggest rise to 100,000, right? 100,000 being the next big time goal for Bitcoin. This may be the ride up. As a matter of fact, this is probably one of the good opportunities to start dipping your toes, if you haven't already, into Bitcoin and both Ethereum. Ethereum expected to hit 14,000 by the end of the year by several analysts that I watch and look at regularly. So right there, that's another 4x, at least 5x on Ethereum. So, definitely right now is definitely a good time to be buying. You may say you'll wait for the next dip, but this thing, when it turns and it runs, it's impossible to catch. It could go up 10,000 overnight. So it's hard to know. But those are some of the
So
reasons. Hmm.
yeah, so I was going to also mention on a couple of fronts here. Everybody, I'm sure, is already knows this, but the infrastructure bill, all of that drama has sort of died down. And even though that's passed, right, and the bill is essentially it's going through,
Hmm.
Bitcoin's still sitting at 47,000 despite that. Um,
Right.
so really, that if anything was going to drive the price of Bitcoin down a great amount, it would have been something like that. But yet the markets are still rebounding despite
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And I think really what's happened here is people realize they're like, wait a second, if the United States government can't step in and drive the price way down, then what's really going to drive that price way down? So I think
Hmm.
from this point on, I think we continue to go up.
Hmm. Yep.
And then on another front, sadly, what everything that's transpiring over in Afghanistan right now, and those people are not, banks are not allowing them to withdraw money.
That's
Uh,
right.
you kind of have to ask the question: is there something better for different types of people or different populations? Well,
Hmm.
perhaps something that's not controlled by the government or controlled by a central bank. So I think people are going to start to realize, wait a minute, we need something better to places to keep our money, and
Yeah.
that's only going to make the case for this going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's happening in Afghanistan, as sad as it is, uh, makes a case for cryptocurrencies. I mean,
It
because
absolutely
at this
does.
point, like you couldn't even really depend on your government in Afghanistan to give you the money that you may have had in your
Right.
bank account. Who owns it now?
Exactly.
I don't think anyone can tell you that. I don't even want to really talk about that, but probably no one. So, that's, I mean, if that's not a case, for cryptocurrencies, it's hard to make, anyone better than that. But anyways, going on, I had the question come up to me, this week, actually. I've got a lot of people who are newly to investing in cryptocurrency, and they're like, well, what is how do I keep my money safe? Currently, I have my money on an exchange, but I don't want to keep it there. I want to move my money off the exchange. And that led into, a series of conversations of how you can keep your money safe in crypto, because there's so many ways that it's getting stolen, and people are getting ripped off, and you really don't know what you're doing. It's easy to get ripped. It's easy to get fooled. It really is. I mean, I have practically almost been fooled because they're just so clever. And so we're going to go into a few of those today, actually. And another reason this came up for me today was because Coinbase decided to create it's a support phone line for account takeovers. So Coinbase, this got announced today that Coinbase is going to be connecting their clientele to a live operator to help expedite the process in account fraudulent activity. Basically, people trying to take over what sounds like their Coinbase account. So this is going to be relative to the exchange Coinbase itself. They're probably not going to help you with like your MetaMask or your cold wallet or anything like that. But if something does happen to your Coinbase account or it's been fraudulently taken over, um, they're going to have basically a support helpline.
Yeah,
Which,
I think this is a really positive step in the right direction.
yeah.
Especially with the limelight right now, with the light that's being shown on top of cryptocurrency, the federal government. I think things like this are very positive, because this only goes to help efforts to explain that, okay, we aren't, we're not out there trying to trying to take people's money. We're trying to actually provide a legitimate service.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like this, and again, I've said it before, I think Coinbase has been, a driving force for a lot of this, adoption, and this definitely helps.
Yeah, I mean, with them going public, I mean, obviously they're going to have to do something with fraudulent account activity. So with the limelight being on them to kind of be the showrunners and showcasers for how cryptocurrency is going to be dealt with in the future and how legitimate it's going to be, this is obviously the next right step, right? So, I deal with a lot with Coinbase, but I deal with even more with Kucoin. And KuCoin does have a support helpline if something like this happens, but I don't know if that deals with directly with account takeovers or fraudulent activity. Usually, it's if you don't know how to do something, they'll help you, and they're really good at it. Helping you get through some of the problems that you may have. But this is kind of a new step where you can actually get someone directly on the phone and say, "Hey, someone's hacked my account, I guess, or is trying to, or whatever." Um, so this is actually really, I think, a huge positive step forward. Um, yeah, I mean, do you have anything else to add on this? So, account takeovers, ATOs, involve a malicious actor gaining access and control over a user's account. So, basically, over the Coinbase account, they are treated as a form of identity theft where hackers simulate the credentials of the account holder in order to restore a password and log in. Most times, these credentials are a result of a previous information leak or other type of such scams, such as phishing or keylogging. So this is, mainly with accounts being done or someone gaining access to your Coinbase account.
Right. So I think the point here is that this is a great thing for Coinbase to add.
Mm-hmm.
But as we'll talk about in a second, prevention before it gets to this point is definitely something that everybody needs to, pay some attention to, some basic
Mm-hmm.
security practices. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about a couple of those in a second. But also worth mentioning here, I did notice one thing that in here that caught my attention was that, the previous information leak. So, there's great resources out there where you can put in your email address, you can put in other key information, and you can see if your information was part of a prior information leak. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe one of the best sites to check that is Have I Been Pwned? You can actually pop your email address in there, and it'll tell you how many websites your email address was part of in an information breach.
What was that again? Have I been what?
Pwned, it's PWND.
PWND.
Actually, I'm sorry, I think it's POWND. Might want to Google it.
Okay. Have I been pwned? Interesting. Okay. Good one. All right. So, what are the different ways that your money or your crypto is kept, online? So, basically, there's probably going to be, or there's really two main ways that you see people exchanging cryptocurrencies. One is through an exchange like Coinbase, like Kucoin, like Kraken, and like Binance. You basically do your KYC, you move your money from your bank account, your fiat, into an exchange. And then from there, you can buy your cryptocurrency, and your cryptocurrency will stay on that exchange. But a lot of people don't want to keep their money in an exchange. Your account could be hacked, for instance, like Coinbase. You get your account hacked, someone gets access to it, and then they transfer your funds off the exchange. Very easily done. It's happening quite a bit. Um, or you just want to get your money off of the exchange so you can use it to buy other altcoins, or just move it off because for the case of my friend who was asking me about it, he says, look, I own Bitcoin, I own Ethereum, I'm not going to sell this anytime in the next 5 years. I'm not
Right.
doing, I don't care if it goes down to $10,000. I'm not selling my crypto. And he's like, well, so what's the best option for me? Because I just don't want to leave it sitting on the exchange. So in cases like that, you're going to want to move your money off the exchange into a wallet. And really, there's two types of wallets. You got your hot wallets, which hot means it's connected to the internet at all times. And then you got your cold wallet, which means you move that crypto completely off of any internet accessible device onto a hardware storage item, and then that way it's like a vault. And the only way that can get access to it is by accessing the device itself. Um, and so those are really some of the best ways to keep your cryptocurrency safe.
Yeah, one of the things, Brad, too, I think there's a misconception that that your tokens are, so when you send them from the exchange to a hardware wallet,
Mhm.
that you're sending them there. But what you're really doing is, when you leave them on the exchange, you're relinquishing the private key. You're relinquishing the key to unlock that to the exchange.
Yeah.
When you actually transfer, quote unquote, the tokens or the cryptocurrency from the exchange to the hardware wallet, what you're actually doing is you're holding the private key.
Hmm.
The tokens are really not moving. They're not really going anywhere. They're on the blockchain, but they're
Hmm.
locked by a private key. And so you'll hear the term, and the reason I bring it up is you'll hear the term, not your keys, not your coins. Well, if you don't hold the private key and the exchange does, then technically you really don't own that,
You
right?
don't really own it. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, the token's basically always on the blockchain, but the key is to the ownership, and that's basically a good point. Warble, thank you for kind of explaining that a little bit more. Is that you're moving the ownership of that token that's on that blockchain off the
Truly
exchange
to yourself. Yeah.
into yourself, and that means that it's fully in your grasp. You can do with it as you wish at that point. And then the second thing to not really want to keep your crypto on an exchange is um you cannot get all altcoins on exchanges. Some of them are on different platforms, different dApps that you got to get access to. So it just kind of depends on exactly why you're wanting to move that money off, and there's plenty of reasons to move it off. Um, so
The
yeah, I
other
mean,
the other reason, Brad, too, which might be
mhm,
worth mentioning, is especially as hot as DeFi is right now. If you think about yields and staking, for example,
that's
Coinbase
right.
allows you to keep tokens in your wallet on the Coinbase exchange, and you can actually stake those.
Hmm.
But if you think about it from the implications of from a tax reporting implication, um, if you have enough, Coinbase is going to issue a 1099-K. Um, Whereas if you hold those coins in your wallet, um, you're the one that has to report that. And there's not a chance that your information or data is being sent to governmental agencies.
Hmm.
So it's a more private way to do things as well, and especially when you
Yeah.
think about yields.
Hmm. And that's another point, especially as the taxes are becoming more prevalent in the crypto space. If your money is sitting on Coinbase, Coinbase is going to report that you have $20,000 in Bitcoin sitting on their exchange.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
um,
not condoning, like,
no,
or saying
no, I know, I know,
not to pay
no,
taxes, but
no,
at the
I know.
same time,
Mhm.
the regulations are so unclear that, it's personally for me, I would rather know what the regulation is, but I'm the one that has the key. I'm not going to have
Right.
Coinbase be like, oh, by the way, yeah, the regulations changed. So
Mhm.
this guy has, here's your 1099K. Have fun this year.
That's right. So let's get into what the differences between hot wallets and cold wallets. Hot wallets, I mean, pretty much anyone who's in crypto should know of what a hot wallet is at this point. It's your MetaMask. It's your, even one Harmony One wallet. They came out with their own wallet, so I've got their wallet. What are a couple of the other wallets that are out right now? The popular ones.
I mean, well, Coinbase wallet is another one.
Coinbase has their own wallet.
Yep.
Um,
There's also actually a wallet that I really like is Trust Wallet. That's another really
Trust
good
Wallet's
wallet.
another really good wallet. Actually, I really like Trust Wallet actually. So that's another really good hot wallet. They have their own little decks on there. Although I've never used it, so I can't really speak for it. But they do have the decks,
Yeah, Green
and they have
Wallet's another good one too.
and which one?
Green Wallet.
Green Wallet. Okay, so those are basically hot wallets. So the wallet, you can download the wallet onto your phone. I've got MetaMask on my phone. I've got Coinbase Wallet on my phone. I've got them both actually on my computer as well. And they sit on my computer. They're always online. As long as you can get to your account key, you can transmit and send back and forth. A lot of these wallets are now, they have the NFT space, so you can transfer your NFTs to your wallets. But that's essentially a hot wallet. Is that it lives online, it lives on your computer, it lives on your device, and it's pretty much always online. Um, but some of the and this came out last year, but there's a lot of attacks that are constantly happening to these wallets. And a couple of them that I thought were really clever was authenticity of software updates. Some of these guys have gotten so clever that they've actually created, they get a list of like email addresses of people who may be in the crypto space or have bought uh, devices or downloaded these wallets, and they've sent out emails basically saying, "Hey, you need to update your wallet," and it's essentially a phishing scam. You go and click to update, your MetaMask or whatever, they end up getting access to either your computer or they ask you to put in your seed phrase to update your seed phrase. And once they have that information, once someone gains access to your seed phrase, which is basically the password to your hardware or your software wallet, they have everything that you have.
Speaking of seed phrase, absolutely. There is no exception, and very rare exception, but never ever give anybody your seed phrase.
Mhm.
Never. There isn't anything I can think of that I've ever used that needed a seed phrase, except if I buy a new hardware wallet, I want to transfer the private key from one to the other.
Yeah, some of the rare occasions that you should ever have to utilize your seed phrase upon from the first time of loading the wallet is if you're putting the wallet on a new device. If you put the wallet, if I transfer my MetaMask from this computer over to another computer, I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to re-input that seed phrase. Now that's essentially what the hacker's trying to do, right?
right.
He's basically saying, "Oh, I'm installing my MetaMask on my new device," but it's actually his device. As soon as he has access to that seed phrase, he now has ownership of that wallet.
Yep.
But those are some of the rare occasions, and so unless you're moving a device, you shouldn't really be re-entering these seed phrases, and someone shouldn't be asking you for these seed phrases.
So here's my suggestion with that as well. If there's ever any doubt, You go to a website, or you go to some sort of DApp or something and it's new, always jump into a Discord for the community, and ask the question. Just pose the question. Discord, Telegram, pose the question and say, listen, I'm on this new website, this DApp for Ethereum. It does this, this, and this. They're asking for my seed phrase. Doesn't look right. 9 times out of 10, probably every time, you're going to hear from the community, don't, absolutely close that tab, because
Hmm.
it's a scam.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like this report here, basically this hacker developed some sort of software wallet phishing scam where people would go to the website, and they'd entering private data on a malicious website set up by the hacker. This scam involved a fake wallet update. So it would say you need to update, this wallet, blah blah, whether it be your MetaMask or whatever. I don't know if this was MetaMask. I don't think it was, but basically the update was in fact malware that
Well,
gained
this was,
access.
I believe this was the Electrum wallet.
Yeah, it says Electrum right here. I was just kind of ignoring that, but so that's kind of an example of what you're talking about. Warble is going to these websites, and it seems fishy. There's something fishy about it, and if you're questioning it, just stop what you're doing at that point. You know, this one was really interesting. This one, some of these guys were getting so good, they were developing Google Chrome extensions that were tricking users into giving away the credentials needed to access their wallets, basically seed phrases. A fraudulent Ledger Live scam extension got away with an estimated 1.4 million of XRP. So we're going to actually talk about Ledger here in a second because that's a cold wallet. But a lot of it is phishing attempts and malware attempts. So people trying to get you to drive to update the device, release a seed phrase, or go to some sort of malware downloading extension. But as long as you're just hanging on to those seed phrases like dear life, and you don't go to clicking on anything that's pretty peculiar, you should be okay. But those are some of the dangers with hot wallets, is that they're online all the time. All it takes is a click. And of course, typing in, if someone gets a key logging or something like that installed on your PC, that's obviously pretty bad.
Yeah, another strategy you can use, a couple different strategies, is that if it is a new project, and you're not entirely sure whether you can trust it,
Hmm.
what you can also do is you can have a second browser, install MetaMask on the second browser, and
Hmm.
simply transfer the funds to a MetaMask on the second browser, and browse, and just keep a small subset of funds in that and browse
Yeah.
to the actual site. Because here's the problem, is that some of these actual sites can in fact could potentially get access to your private key
Hmm.
through the browser. So it is very dangerous. But the best thing you can do is simply attach, and we'll talk about it in a second, like Brad said, we'll simply attach a hardware wallet to your MetaMask, or your
Hmm.
hot wallet if you have that
Hmm.
option, because it doesn't matter. You can't A fund or a transaction can't happen unless you confirm it physically on the actual hardware wallet.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess it was really bad last year because this article from last year says that there was at least 22 Google Chrome extensions discovered for basically gaining access to people's wallets. So hopefully Chrome is doing something at this point a little bit more, you know, jumping into this a little bit quicker on grabbing these things. But these are putting crypto extensions, especially from Chrome, it sounds like, on your browser is not a good idea. I would basically just stay away from Chrome extensions unless it comes from the authorized retailer like MetaMask.
Yeah.
Um,
Or simply use another browser. Like if you use
yeah.
Chrome, use Chrome for your cryptocurrency,
Hmm.
and use Firefox for everything else.
There you go.
That way you're insulating everything related to cryptocurrency, you don't have any extensions on there that have the potential of scraping any of your sensitive information.
Yeah. Okay, so jumping over from hot wallets, we know the dangers of hot wallets. They're obviously, one of the great things about them though is because they're always online, you're always ready to go. You ready to transfer your money over? Boom, you're ready to go. All you got to do is go to, the blockchain or DApp that you're looking for, and you can swap that crypto out. You can sell it. It's immediate, right? Um, with cold wallets, it's not quite as fast. Although I will say this about cold wallets before we get started, they're advancing the ability to speed up the process in exchanging or getting your crypto off of the cold wallet. Which this is a cold wallet right here. All right, this one's called a ledger. And then another really popular one that I was looking at before I got the ledger was the Trezor.
Hmm.
And so I've heard good things about both, and I've also heard bad things about both. I don't know if I could really say one's better than the other. Although with what Ledger has been doing recently, I'm starting to really appreciate the software updates and things that they're coming out with in the
Yeah,
future.
I do like Ledger. Unfortunately, I think it was last year, there was they got a little bit of a black eye because they had that customer data leak. but
Right.
but I mean, I think really what it comes down to with these hardware wallets is that it's a preference. People really like Ledger. They like the Ledger Live app. But there's other good ones too, like Trezor, like you said.
Hmm.
KeepKey's another good wallet. I know somebody that has a cool wallet. They really like it. It fits in there. It actually is like a credit card. And so there's just a lot of different options out there. Recommend at least picking one of them up. Some of them are a
Right.
lot cheaper than others. But I personally like the Ledger
Yeah.
Nano X.
Well, so my friend said I'm not selling my crypto. I'm not going to sell it at least for the next 5 years. I have zero intention on selling it, and that's probably the best reason in the world to get a cold wallet. Is if this is an investment, it'll be a very long time. It'll have to go to $10 probably before I decide to sell. And that's, we all know it's not going to happen, but basically the intent is this is for a vault. I'm going to put this in a vault, and I'm not going to get rid of it for a very long time. I'm a holder,
Yep.
not a trader. That makes the best reason to get a ledger. This is called the Ledger X. The reason, and then this is called the Ledger S, or I believe the Ledger Nano. The reason I have two of them is because of backup purposes. This one holds less crypto. It can hold less keys than this one. This one can hold something like 30 different cryptos. This one can only hold, like, let's say 10. So this was basically bought for backup purposes. I bought this one. I put all of my crypto on this one, no matter how much of it or I have or how many I have. I put everything I have on this one. And then with this one, I back up my most expensive cryptos that I have on this one to this device. So basically, if I was ever to lose this device, I still have all of my money saved to this one.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
So that's called the backup strategy for the cold wallet. Ledger does it. I don't know if Trezor does it, but I do know Ledger does it. And that was another reason that I did go with Ledger was because they did have the backup. Um, and so I thought that was just a really, really nice utility to have. But some of the cool things, the reason that I also like Ledger is because of uh, they're continuously trying to improve their software and make the ability to get your money off of the cold wallet or off the vault storage onto a hot wallet or back onto an exchange as quickly as possible. And before, it was a little bit more difficult. You had to jump through many different hoops, and just to get into my cold wallet, and then get the crypto or the keys off of my cold wallet onto, let's say, my MetaMask or onto my Coinbase, it'd be like a 30-minute process, 20-30 minute process. Here now, their software updates are have gotten so well that you can connect your MetaMask to your ledger and literally have direct connection and link to be able to transfer crypto and funds back and forth within a minute or two, right?
Right. Yeah, they've improved that a lot. The one thing I did want to mention, unless you may have planned to mention this too, is as soon as you set up your hardware wallet,
Mhm.
and in fact, not even just your hardware wallet, it could be any wallet, even a hot wallet, back up your private key.
Oh yeah, yes, and
So
they
many
do
times.
they do tell you that whenever you're setting up your wallet, whenever you do get your wallet, they're like, for one, and one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to put your private keys on your computer, because if your computer
Absolutely
gets
not.
compromised, you're pretty much compromised. They've got access to your seed phrases. They got to, so they do tell you to write it down, and then not only that, they tell you, make copies of it and then put those into a safe somewhere. So don't keep
Right.
a digital copy. Um, but I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you some of the features of what a cold wallet does. And I've moved most of my money off of this, so it's no longer on here at this moment. But so you've got your portfolio. You can keep track of that. You can keep track of all the different asset allocations that you have. You can go through and you can see all the different tokens and accounts that you have. So just like you would on your MetaMask, you've got your BNB or Bitcoin account. This is the same thing. You can see your accounts, how much you have in each account. And this is the ability to both send and receive those cryptos, which is kind of cool, or obviously needed. But what is kind of cool is the buy and sell. Now, I haven't used this myself, and Warble, I don't know if you have, but they're actually trying to give you the ability to buy and sell crypto just like an exchange right from the ledger.
Right. Yeah.
Just
I haven't used that either. I tend to, just as you've said many times, I think we both have our favorites in terms of exchanges, and
yeah,
so I don't tend to use this function now.
yeah. I know when I first received the ledger, buying and selling wasn't available in the U.S. That may still be the case. I don't know. I'll probably have to dig into that a little bit more. But these are just some of the few advancements that I'm talking about. They're trying to make it like where you can have a ledger and it's convenient, right? So this makes wanting to use a cold wallet kind of more acceptable, because it's not as inconvenient as a hot wallet, as dangerous as a hot wallet can be. They're doing the same thing with swapping. Everyone knows of Sushi Swap, right? And Uniswap and Sunday Swap and Pancake Swap. The ability to swap. This is another new feature. I haven't used it, but they're building this end. So this, hopefully I can report on this soon. But again, this service is not available in the U.S., so it's not here yet. And not to say that I won't. It'll probably be here soon. But as soon as they start improving on some of these things, as soon as you're buying, you're swapping, they have lending. And then there was, I thought I saw that staking was coming to Ledger in the near future as well.
You
These
can,
are,
yeah, I was going to say, Dot, I think Polkadot. So if you hold Polkadot on your ledger, they now support delegation directly from
mm,
from the ledger. So that's
yeah,
kind of cool.
staking and farming and all these are reasons why you keep your crypto on hot wallets, because it gives you the ability to do these things. Now, if they brought this ability to cold wallet, I mean, you pretty much want to keep your stuff on a cold wallet all the time. There wouldn't be many reasons not to. So as they improve on some of these things, and Ledger is specifically, for my purposes, is building these things in. These are what's really going to make cold wallets really the go-to device for keeping your crypto offline. Um, and so yeah, we'll just have to see what comes of this. I know they're still improving on this, but these are, um, just some really, really great utilities that they're building into these platforms.
And I did want to mention when it comes to hardware wallets. So I don't know if anybody was following this, but Shapeshift made the switch over recently from a centralized company to a DAO. So they're completely decentralized. And as part of that process, or part of that, what they did was they said anybody that used the Keep Key wallet at any point in time and transferred anything to or from it actually was qualified for a Fox token airdrop. And I thought to myself, okay, I had a Keep Key, but damn, I didn't use it. Like, son of a, you know. But so I think that companies are also adopting these wallets a little bit more in some ways or another. I think a lot of crypto companies are adopting the Ledger wallets.
Yeah.
But there are companies that are leaning toward, Trezor and KeepKey. But again, I think they're all really good wallets. I think it comes down to your preference.
Yeah. One last thing is to always make sure if you do buy a cold wallet, to always buy from a reputable source, like directly from Ledger itself. If you do go to other places like Amazon, be very careful about the device. There was a hack where people were actually buying the device, building out the seed keys, basically setting it up so that they get the seed key and then sending the device to the new user. The new user would then set the crypto or the wallet up on their computer, but the person with the seed key owned the wallet. So essentially they had ownership. So once the money was transferred, they could see that the money was transferred into the account, and then boom, it was gone. This is a known problem with hardware wallets, is that if you do not get the seed key, or if you don't get asked about the seed key when setting it up, that's a surefire sign there's a problem. And then secondly, just buy from a reputable source. Don't try to get a deal. Just pay full price. Get it from the retailer.
Yeah, and ask yourself this question, right? That's an excellent point. But ask yourself this question: if you think about the cryptocurrency that you have right now, and you wake up tomorrow morning and your cryptocurrency has been stolen off the hot wallet, how would you feel about that? And if you think to yourself that would be devastating, then it's time to buy a hardware wallet.
Yeah. And that's funny you say that. That's exactly what I told my friend. I said, if you feel like you got into your MetaMask today and the money that was missing, or it showed that there was zero money in it, how devastating would that be to you?
Yeah.
And if it's like your heart sinks and you're going to cry and you're going to be sick and it's probably going to hurt you financially and maybe even ruin you, get a cold wallet.
Yeah, you definitely need
your
to
money
get a
off
cold
of the
wallet.
thing. Yeah, and so that's that's the reason for it. It's because it's basically a vault, right? So it really makes it hard for someone to get into or gain access to your keys. That's all I had.
Yeah, that was a really good overview. Very, very good.
Yeah, guys, if you have any other questions, please leave it in the comments. Like I said, this was brought to me by a friend who was asking about it, and I felt like it was a really good topic. So, yeah, glad we talked about it.
Yeah, I think maybe on a future episode, I don't know how you feel about this, but possibly on a future episode, we talk about, what if something happens to you? How do you ensure that people around you know what the private key is? How do you successfully transfer that ownership, right?
Yeah.
Because we work so hard to keep it secret.
Yeah.
But what about everybody around you that has to sort of pick up that private key and know what to do with it, or even know where it is, or how to use it, or any of that?
Yeah, especially for people if you've got people in your life who don't understand the crypto world, how do you make it clear enough to them to gain access to your accounts and then get the money out? That's going to be, I think that's another good topic for our next week's episode. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Good one. Like I said, guys, if you have any other comments or questions about hardware, cold wallets, leave in the comments below, and then let us know what you think. And then, yeah, we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, guys.